I woke up today at 6:14 a.m. The tide was low. The kind of low where the rocks groan like they've just been told a bad secret. I've always liked the sound of the sea when it pulls back, like it's gathering its breath. There was no sun again. Not even the dull, blue smear we used to get when it first began. The air felt like it had forgotten how to move. No wind. No birdsong. Just the endless hush that has hung over us like a wet sheet for months now. I made tea anyway. A man needs rituals when the world forgets how to spin properly. The kettle took longer than usual. Maybe the generator is dying. I should check the fuel levels, but I keep putting it off. A part of me wonders if I even want to fix it. What would I need electricity for anymore? The lighthouse hasn't lit a ship's path in months. There are no ships. No people. But I still light it sometimes. Out of respect. Or maybe stubbornness. I'm writing this from the kitchen table, using the same pen I've had for 10 years. The ink is fading, which feels appropriate. This is my first entry. Not for a journal, not for a rescue team, just a letter to no one. Or everyone. If someone finds this, maybe you'll understand the silence better than I do. Maybe this letter becomes your voice when your own breaks. I don't know. All I know is that I need to write. Otherwise, I might forget that I'm still here. I walked the perimeter today. There's nothing to guard against, but habits are hard to break. I followed the gravel path behind the tower, past the old tool shed, around the crumbling fence. The fog has thickened. It sits low, dragging its belly along the earth like an old dog. There was a time when I hated the fog. When I first arrived here, fresh out of the Navy, full of spit and impatience, I cursed the way it swallowed everything. But now, it's comforting. It softens the world, hides the decay, makes things quieter than they already are. I paused by the north cliff. There used to be a bench there, long gone now. Just a metal frame and some memories. From that spot, you could see fishing boats dotting the water like freckles. Now, the sea is blank. No gulls. No foam. Just a gray nothing stretching outward forever. I think I saw something in the fog. A shape, tall, unmoving, maybe human. Or maybe just my mind playing tricks again. I called out, like a fool. Hello. My voice barely bounced back. No reply. Just the fog, and the sound of my own breath tightening. I waited 5 minutes. Then 10. Then I turned back. I know no one's out here. I know that. But I've started to talk to the rooms when I enter. Morning, I say to the hall. Evening, I say to the lamp. It helps, somehow. The echo makes me feel less alone. I think I'll go up to the lantern room tonight. Just to sit. Maybe light something small. The flame doesn't reach far anymore, but it still flickers. That has to count for something. The pantry is down to tins. Mostly beans and preserved fish. There's still flour, but I haven't baked since the radio died. That was the last thread connecting me to the world. When it went silent, I pretended it was technical, a storm maybe, or tower failure. But that silence, it was too clean. Not broken. Finished. I miss the voices more than the news. Even the dull broadcasts, weather reports, coastal warnings, the hum of static between announcements. They made me feel like I was part of something bigger, a background character in a world that still had plot. Now I talk to the food before I open it. What's it going to be today? I ask the cupboard. Surprise me. Sardines, again. I keep an old logbook from when the lighthouse was active. It's a massive thing, water damaged and heavy. I've started recording meals in it. Not out of necessity, just to give structure to the hours. August 3rd, morning, Tea, 1 biscuit. Evening, sardines, stale bread. August 4th, morning, water. Evening. Lentils, no seasoning. I even draw smiley faces next to meals that taste better than expected. Pathetic, I know. But a good day needs documentation. Otherwise, it slips into the others and is lost. I ration candles now. 1 per evening. I sit in the lantern room and let it burn. I used to look for ships, but now I just stare into the dark. Sometimes I imagine someone out there, not close, not even visible, just present. Watching the light and feeling seen. That's all we ever wanted, wasn't it? To be seen. Not saved, not fixed. Just noticed. I dreamt of music last night. A violin, soft and wavering, playing something I couldn't name. It came from the cliffside, drifting in with the tide. I followed it in the dream, barefoot, wearing my father's coat, and when I reached the edge, there was no one there. Just a violin on the rocks, still playing. I woke up with tears on my face. I haven't heard music in months. Not since the radio went. The Lighthouse had a record player once, back when my wife came with me for summers. We'd dance in the kitchen with the windows open and the gulls screaming above. The ocean was louder back then. Or maybe I was just less alone. I still have one of the records. Songs for Storms. Scratched and useless now. But I keep it propped against the shelf, like a photograph of someone long gone. I tried humming one of the songs today, but the melody slipped through my throat like water. Silence does strange things to memory. I tried speaking aloud this afternoon. Just to break it. I read from an old weather almanac, the driest thing I could find. Barometric pressure at sea level, measured in millibars, is commonly noted as. My voice sounded foreign. Tight. Like someone imitating me poorly. I coughed halfway through and gave up. The fog outside didn't even twitch. I think I missed the annoyance. That dumb noise that used to grate on me. Car alarms in town, drunk kids near the docks, the buzz of fluorescent lights. Now I'd trade a week of food to hear a single door slam. Maybe tomorrow I'll sing. Really sing. Loud. Terrible. I want the world to remember I had lungs once. I think it began with the sun pulling back. Not vanishing, not yet, but dimming. Like someone slowly closing the curtain on a hospital window. The scientists went mad trying to explain it. Atmospheric disruptions. Solar refraction anomalies. Some said it was temporary. Others blamed it on dust in the stratosphere. I remember the first winter. Crops failed in the south. Power grids overstrained in the north. The equator boiled while the poles starved. Birds lost their migratory paths. Whales beached themselves in numbers too large to bury. We thought we could manage. Humans always think that, don't we? We just need to hold on until next season. There was no next season. Eventually the clouds stopped moving. The sky became fixed. Like someone had painted it in grays and forgot to layer the blue. I used to call it the bruise. It hovered over everything. Some days it looked like healing. Others, like it was spreading. I remember a broadcast, maybe the last one, where a man calmly said, "We are experiencing an irreversible reduction in solar radiation. Please remain indoors when possible. Ration heat. Check on your neighbors." And then static. I wrote to my son after that. Told him not to come. Told him to stay in the city, near the warmth, near other people. He didn't reply. I told myself it was because he was too busy surviving. But part of me wonders if he listened at all. Or if he never made it out. That was a year ago. Maybe more. Time doesn't hold shape anymore. I mark days by candle stubs now. By what I still have. And by what I've forgotten. I remember when the roads began to fill. Not with traffic, but with people. On foot. Dirty, desperate, moving in long, slow lines. They called it the marching spiral, a stupid name, really. Some paper made it up to sell more issues. But it stuck. People moved north. Always north. Chasing the last slivers of warmth, the last working grids. Whole towns emptied overnight. Small places, the ones no one ever visits unless they get lost, were the first to go dark. Then the cities followed. Not all at once. They flickered like bad bulbs. I had a friend in Oslo. Lena. Botanist. She said plants stopped responding to sunlight properly, grew sideways, shriveled in bloom. Her voice was steady, but I could hear her fear leaking through the cracks. It's not just the sun going, she said. It's the pattern. The rhythm. I never heard from her again. I used to keep a map. Marked the places I got news from. Crossed them out when they stopped sending anything. Eventually, the whole thing just looked like a scarred animal pelt. It was around then that the refugees started arriving by boat. Not to the lighthouse, of course. We're too far out. But I'd see lights moving along the fjords. Small fires. Then, one night, gunshots. I didn't go to town after that. Didn't want to know which side was still standing. There was one night I'll never forget. Late autumn, I think. The wind had finally returned after weeks of stillness. It howled, not like a storm, but like something in pain. I couldn't sleep. I wrapped myself in every blanket I owned and climbed to the lantern room. And that's when I saw it, a fire. Not far. Maybe 2 miles up the coast, on the rocky outcrop where the fishing cabins used to stand. It wasn't accidental. It burned too bright. Too organized. It was a signal. I stared at it for hours. Debating. Wondering. Was someone asking for help? Offering shelter? Or setting a trap? My hands kept reaching for the flare gun. I still had one shot left. Just one. I held it until dawn, fingers numb around the handle. I didn't fire. I couldn't risk it. Not then. When the sun rose, or tried to. The fire was gone. Nothing left but smoke. I walked there 2 days later. Found nothing but scorched stones and a torn scarf hanging from a rusted pole. I brought it back with me. It hangs on the stairwell now. Red and green, frayed at the ends. I like to think it meant something. That maybe they were kind. That maybe they forgave me for not coming. They started burning books in Berlin. Not out of hatred, not like before, but for heat. First the old stuff. Then whatever could be spared. People looted libraries with firewood in mind. History is a luxury, someone said on one of the last broadcasts. I read that they emptied the Louvre. Not to preserve the art, but to trade it. A single Monet was worth a week of electricity. A Rembrandt? A gun. The government fractured into regions. Civil systems became barter networks. Towns posted guards on grain silos. Neighbors turned on each other over salt. In America, a preacher declared that the sun was withdrawing its light in judgment. His followers built mirrors. Giant fields of them. They thought if they could reflect enough light back into the sky, God would take notice. No one ever said what happened to them. I remember watching all of it unfold from here, behind glass, with the sea between us. I used to feel guilty about that. Now I'm just grateful. Maybe solitude was mercy after all. There's a crawl space beneath the lighthouse. I used to store fuel and rope coils there. It always smelled like rust and salt. But lately, it smells different. Damp. Like old breath. I heard something from it last night. I was lying in bed, half dreaming, when it came, a shuffle. A slow drag. Like boots across grit. Then, very faint, a voice. Just one word. Hello. I sat up so fast I knocked the lamp over. Nothing followed. I crept to the floor vent, listened. No sound. No movement. I told myself it was the wind shifting old chains. Or rats. Maybe just my mind tossing echoes back at me. But I didn't sleep. I sat at the top of the stairs until dawn with a hammer in my hand, like some lunatic Viking defending a temple no one wants to raid. This place used to be a machine. Routine, regulated, dependable. But now it's a body. It breathes differently. It creaks like joints. It watches. I forgot my mother's name today. Not her face, that's still clear. High cheekbones. Laugh lines. The way her lips pulled sideways when she disapproved. But her name? It's gone. I looked through the old trunk in the attic. Thought maybe I'd find a letter, a photo, something. Nothing. Just mold-eaten books and a half-knit scarf I never finished. I sat on the floor for an hour, trying every letter in the alphabet. M. Margaret? Miriam? No. Wrong mouth shape. This frightens me more than the dark. If I forget enough, do I unravel? Do I stop being Emil Jørgensen and become just the keeper, a nameless man in a dead tower, scribbling nonsense into old books? I carved her initials into the stairwell years ago. I ran my fingers over them today. MLJ. That's something. That's a pin in the map. I won't lose everything. Not yet. There was someone at the base of the cliffs this morning. Just standing there. A figure in a long coat, barely visible through the fog. I didn't dare call out. I watched from the lantern room, holding the old binoculars. They didn't move. For an hour, they just stood, facing the water. Then, slowly, they turned, and walked away. Not toward the village. Not toward the trail. Just, inland. Into the rocks. I should be afraid. But I'm not. There's a strange peace in it. Like proof that the world is still turning, even if on broken wheels. I kept watching long after they were gone. Hoping for movement. A second visitor. But no one else came. I left the scarf outside, draped over the railing. If they return, they'll know someone saw them. That someone here is still watching. Or maybe it's a warning. I honestly don't know which. The fog lifted today. Not fully, but enough to see the water again. And it's wrong. The surface is too still. Like wax. No tide. No reflection. Just a flat sheet of gray stretching to the horizon, like the world forgot how to breathe. I stepped outside without my coat, expecting the usual bite of cold. But the air was warm. Not pleasant, stifling. Like being in a room where someone just screamed. The sky had no color. Not black, not white. Just empty. I've lived through hundreds of storms. Seen lightning hit the tower twice. I know when the weather means business. But this was something else. Not a storm. A stillness before something that doesn't have a name. I stood on the cliffs for a long time. Waited for thunder. For a sign. Nothing. That might be the sign. I heard his voice. Just once. Clear. Undeniable. I was fixing the railing on the stairwell when I heard it, a simple, "Dad?" echoing up through the floorboards. I froze. dropped the wrench. My hands shook so hard I had to sit down. "Jesper?" I said. "Jesper, where are you?" No reply. I searched the whole tower. Opened every door, even the old fuse box in the basement. I even climbed to the top with the flare gun, as if I could summon him like a ship. But the fog had returned. Thicker than ever. I don't know if I imagined it. But it didn't feel like memory. It felt present. And now I can't stop thinking. What if he was here? What if he came to find me, months late, half-starved, and I missed him by minutes? Or worse, what if he's always been here, and I've forgotten? There's only one flare left. It's become a kind of promise. I've carried it with me every day for months, as if the act of not using it was a form of hope. I don't think that's true anymore. I walked the cliff trail this morning. The one that loops around the backside of the lighthouse and vanishes into the hills. I haven't taken that path in over a year. There were no birds. No wind. Just the sound of my boots crunching over frost-hardened moss. When I reached the highest point, I stopped and looked back at the tower. From up there, it looks so small. Like something a child would draw in a corner of a page, a lighthouse, crooked and alone. I held the flare gun for a long time. I didn't fire. But next time, I might.